Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's session of Ask Zak. And our topic for tonight is how to apply dip to your animals. Now that is very relevant, especially with the season that's upon us. Summer months are coming, our first rains are on the way, and of course with all that we get explosion in the population of our ticks and all of our external parasites. So how to apply your dips plays a big role in the season that's ahead. Now a lot of people ask, what is the best method to apply a dip? And unfortunately there's no clear answer. It all depends on your setup, what you have to work with and what you want to do. So what I will do tonight is I'm just going to explain to you a few pros and cons about how to apply the different types of dips, and then you can take that information and apply it to your farm. See what kind of facilities you have, what do you need to do, and then you can make a decision on what dip to use. So first and foremost, the one that we want to kick off with is a familiar one. Everyone knows the pour-on dip that you pour onto the back of the animal, right from the start of the neck to the base of the tail. What is nice about that dip, that line that you apply to the back, it transfers over the whole animal. So you're not going to handle the animal a lot. It's a quick process. You just pour it onto the back and it's going to transfer itself all over the animal to ensure that you get coverage. The big challenge that you have there is you have to apply that dip according to body mass. If you apply it incorrectly, either too much or too little. If you put on too much, you're going to burn the animal and it's going to be very unpleasant and influence your production very negatively. And if you apply too little, then of course you are starting to create resistance within the parasite community on your farm, because there is everywhere, there's no farm that has no parasites, so you need to manage that. Now, a lot of farmers ask, but I can't afford a scale. A scale is too expensive. Now, there is an easier way to do it. And unfortunately, you're going to have to be able to handle your animals. But you get what we call a weight band. It looks like a measuring tape that you put around the chest of the animal, and you measure the circumference of the animal's chest. And when you look at it, it's going to give you an estimation of the animal's weight. And with that information, now you can calculate your amount of dip that the animal needs much more accurately and do your dipping right. So that is very important when it comes to our dipping with a pour-on. So first and foremost, you don't have to handle the animal so much, but you need to know what your animals weigh. So know that before you apply your dip or go buy your first dip. Now the next one, of course, is a familiar favorite. It is our spray dip, where we wet our animal. Now what's nice about our spray dip is we don't have to have the animal's weight. What we do is we literally take the dip, mix it into the water according to the dilution rate that the dip tells us, and we have to wet that animal. Now very important with the spray dip. The spray dip doesn't transfer itself all over the animal. You are going to have to do it via your spraying. So you're going to have to make sure you wet the animal all over. And when I talk about all over, you're going to have to get into the hard to reach places as well. The groin areas, underneath the forearms, underneath the tail. Those areas you're going to have to spray and make sure you wet. Otherwise, the dip doesn't get in contact there, and you create safe pockets for the ticks to live in, and there they're going to survive until the dip has worked itself off the animal, and then you're going to just have a big challenge with ticks ahead in the season. So what we usually say, a general rule of thumb, is about 5 liters of mixture is enough to do one big head of cattle. So make sure you've got the correct facilities, because remember, you're going to have keep that animal still. You're going to have to have a good crush so that you can keep the animal stationary to get into all those hard to reach places and spray the animals properly. So that means your handling equipment is very important. The other thing is when it comes to ease of use, of course, it's very easy to mix. You cannot overdose if you mix it correctly. You just wet the animal properly. Another one that's out there is, of course, our plunge dips. Now, I'm not going to talk much about plunge dips because they're not in use anymore much. You don't see much of them. So just take note, a plunge dip is excellent when it comes to coverage all over the animal, but you need to remember you have to refresh that rate of plunge dip. So for more information, stop in at your nearest Alzu One Stop Shop or get into contact with your nearest technical advisor so that we can assist you. So from my side, have a good evening. Goodbye.